Just reminding everyone that in order to proceed, we will need you to click that you are okay with the recording, and then we will proceed.
Where to click? To write down that we're okay? Do you mean where to click?
There should be a pop-up.
Kathy, I think either on the camera or on the mic.
Yeah, you have to click on the camera, and then there's gonna be a message, a question asking you, do you agree with the recording? So just click on the camera.
Or on the mic, both work.
Oh, okay, sorry, the mic. I used the camera.
I just click both of them, and there's no any message. So I agree. Okay.
I think your presence is a proof that you give your consent for this.
Yeah, it's okay. I agree for both of them. Okay.
Great. Yelena and Zineb, did you mute and minimize your camera on purpose now? Are we okay to proceed, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I expected
great,
the presentation coming. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you all so much. And if there is a problem at any point, or if you need support, please raise your hand, write in the chat, whatever you prefer. So I will have my colleague Alex show you the system now. And we also have another colleague, Jan Philip, from the IT team to help us if there are any or need any kind of, just to know that
Alexandra, we just missed a big part of you. Sorry to interrupt you. I don't think it was just me. Your connection is not great.
Yes, I think my internet cut off for a second. I'm just handing over to Alex now so he can have have the presentation up. And Margaret and Elena, because you are the chairs, you will have a separate presentation from us at another point so that you can see the additional features that you have to deal with, but that are not part of this briefing.
Great, then I'll start. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join, and also for suggesting your areas of expertise or where you feel more comfortable in the survey that we just sent out a few months ago. And these will help our chairs assign reviews tailored to your interests. And just to get started, I will share my screen. I hope you can see it. So we have just Okay, I hope you can see it now. We have just set up a webpage of the equity fund. It just went live this week, and it can be found in the advocacy section underneath the manifesto. It will be, the news concerning the fund will be promoted in the upcoming editions of our newsletters of our societies, starting from next week onwards, and also on EULAR's social media prior to the 6th of March launch. So this is indeed a trial run of the equity fund. We're curious to see how things will shape out, but we're very glad that you're opening doing this together and deciphering things along the way. So hopefully it's going to be fun. The launch of the call, as you know, will be on the 6th of March, and the deadline is the 10th of April. Reviews, the ones that you're supposed to do, as such, are scheduled between the 27th of April and 17th of May. However, because we discussed this with our chairs at some point, if we manage to do the screening on a rolling basis, in case we receive applications, not all the applications before the deadline, perhaps we can also share the reviews with you before the 27th of April, because I know some of you, I don't know if you're in the meeting here or not, some of you voiced concerns over the review period that you might not make it depending on your schedule, but you would still like to be involved. So if this is the case, maybe we can work things as we go through. But the main period as it stands now is between the 27th of April and 17th of May. And fear not, after the ending of this meeting, with the approval of Margaret and Elena, I will share the SOPs and the application form and the evaluation form that have gone past the board in December. And of course, for the last two, for the application and the evaluation form, you will have access to those in the platform that I will show you today as well. Just to note, the platform that I will show you today is the work on it is ongoing, so it's a work in progress, and you will most likely have access to it in February, but you will need it as such in April. So fear not, we will develop a guiding document as well, a navigation document, if you will, and you can always call us if you have other questions or difficulties. So we're always here to help. And for Marguerite and Elena, we will have a separate call soon because there are some extra layers in the platform that would be useful for you to know. Some additions that the reviewers will not see. So we can talk about those later on. But first, this is the web page as it is now. We have details about the equity. And this is what the potential applicant will see. What is the fund? What types of projects are supported with some eligible project areas in the field of rheumatology? What are the requirements? And of course, the funding cap, which is set at 50,000 euros. Just for you to know, the whole budget, the amount of the equity fund is 300,000, but nobody can ask for more than 50,000 euros for this. And we also made a note for a project that overlap or fall within the scope of other EULAR funding schemes. These will not be considered. We will mention this in the application form as well, so that people know exactly what to do. And of course, there's an easy how to apply section with some information, even from now, that people can actually see what's required of them once the application form is open on the 6th of March. And of course, an FAQ that will be very useful for them. And I will quickly go through them. How long can the project run? 2 years. What counts as a low and middle income country, because we focused on this and how we decide on these, and I will get back to this criteria later on. Can I apply from a high income country? If collaborations are allowed, if more than one application can be submitted in the call, what's the minimum budget requirement? There is none. Can I apply if it fits to another funding scheme? No. And which language should I submit the application in? And all the communication should be in English. And once the call opens on the 6th of March, the applicants will have here a button, which we do not have now. Yes, Kati, I can answer the question now if you...
Yes, in guess we said that there's not going, if the project is concerns another grant, they will be rejected. But we have to say here, what is the other grants? Because maybe not all the applications, the members know what is applicable for the other grant. For example, yesterday we discussed, because I'm a member of KTP program, a knowledge transfer program, and internal and external affairs in 2 working groups, we have the same questions. How the member association and the applicants will know if their grant is, if their application shoots for equity or KTP or engagement. How they will know that? Because in such a case, how? We have to have a very strict and concrete differences. For example, if you want to have learn something from another for another member association, it is not equity, but it is knowledge transfer program. If you want to have senior management of EULAR representing in some of your events, it's not equity, but it is engagement program. Otherwise, there is no. It's a topic which is not very well known to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and this is for us also is very, the equity fund as it stands is pretty broad for the first time, and the reason that we included these schemes here, like the research or education programs of quality or care task forces, because they have strictly defined criteria that they could check. But I am not an expert in how these other funding schemes work, and maybe either Timea or Margarita, Elena, or Alexandra have more information about this. How do we actually distinguish among them. But because it's so broad in the beginning, probably almost everything will apply unless it's specifically meant for, like, for example, a research task force or something like this. But Elena, I see your hand up. Maybe you have something
Thank you,
else.
Alex, and thank you, Katie, for that question. I think the things that we can say is that we purposefully, for this first round, kept things broad, so that we can allow a bit of an open door for things to come in. It's the very first time that we are rolling out this grant. We want to see what kind of ideas come through, and we hope that over time we will be able to maybe narrow it down a little bit and get it closer and closer to the scope of, you know, the advocacy work that we do, and you know, so that it fits even nicer within this group. But I think you're right. I think let's have a look what comes in that first round, and then see whether we even need a little bit more categorization, a little bit more, you know, maybe leeway, and then take it from there. I think this is just the approach we wanted to take. Timea?
Yeah, and it's just to add to that, what Elena just said, Alex, can you just confirm that when you have here the research education, we're going to have direct link to these pages where actually you can see that, for example, on the research department, there is like method grants, or there are vouchers, or what are the offerings there. So obviously, if it fits with your proposal and it's exactly like, let's say, a method grant or a voucher, that it has to go there. So as much as we are open, we don't want to duplicate. So as Elena said, we will monitor, but we would encourage people to click on these links that it's already existing supports, then that should still go to the existing places. That's what we try to do, but we are very open and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So can we add there the other two projects, which is knowledge transfer program, which is we have also the Kitty project and engagement program, where we have SOPs and regulations, etc., so they can see if they're applied. If not, it's upon to you, but I know that because I am that working groups. I don't know. Because this is not only for HCPs, it's also for the patients association.
Sure, but so, honestly, I'm not aware of these links, and we really focused on the EULAR departments here. So I don't know. I'm personally not aware of these other two options. So we can look into it if it's relevant to the EULAR departments.
Birte knows it very well, which is the manager of PARE associations, of the pillar of PARE, so we can contact her and give you everything. Also, Christina Zinkov, which is that corporate and other, but Birte knows very well. Just to put, because we don't have only HCPs or physicians, you have also the patients association there, and you have to put the other two.
Yeah, okay, then we can collect, we can talk to Birte and get those links.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you
very much.
Yes, and Timea, yes, the links work even now if you click on them. Ruth, please.
I'm not sure if I now understood everything correctly. I know that we should do it. Well, what I can do is do it from the medical point of view and review a grant, but I do not have a list of all the grants that are possible. So are you now providing us with the links to different grants that are there in EULAR, or do we have to find that ourselves, or is that exactly what you have been now explaining? You are going to provide us with links. Sorry, I just didn't understand it right.
Marguerite, would you like to go ahead, or should I answer?
Yes, maybe you can answer first, but maybe we want to give the same answer. But the only thing maybe it's good to know is that already Alex and Alexander in the bureau, and also Elena and myself will have a critical look at these things before we send it out to the reviewers. So when we already see this is really typically much more adequate for quality of care, then we will contact the researchers and say, please, this is typically a project for quality of care or for research under this and this umbrella. And therefore, I think it's very good, Katie, you mentioned that maybe there are a little bit more programs we did not have on our horizon now, so we have to incorporate that as well. Thank you so much for that. But then I think for you, this is, when it comes as a reviewer to you, this is not such of a problem anymore.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Margaret. This is what I wanted to mention.
Thank
We
you.
try to streamline the process for you as much as possible. So basically, it will be pretty straightforward. You receive a review, you evaluate it, and then you click submit. And that is it from your side. You don't need to concern yourselves necessarily with all these schemes, because like Margaret said, we will do an admin check beforehand, and Margaret and Elena very kindly offered to do this as well. So once it reaches you, will be a bit easier, let's say.
Yeah. It's that initial triage system that I think someone mentioned that, you know, it's important for a bit of gatekeeping to avoid duplication, reinventing the wheel. I think that's what it's about. But indeed, what will come to you will be what is truly something that requires a review and an outcome.
Yeah, exactly. So when an applicant, once they click on this button, they will reach this page where they can either get in touch with us if they have any questions, or they can submit their application here through this button. And these are, so I will share this with you anyhow after the meeting. So you will have a clear understanding of the application form and the evaluation form as well. So as I mentioned, the platform is ongoing. Here we will have to link it with the website, but the main points are these. What's the title of the project? Who's the leader? Their contacts, other members of the project, if applicable. Then the other section would contain an abstract. Oh, sorry, I apologize. An abstract, a lay summary. What's the relevance to the equity fund? Their full proposal, which is now 4 pages maximum and only PDFs are permitted. Their proposed implementation, how feasible their projects is and what approaches they will take in ensuring its implementation, the expected impact of their project, and a budget table, which will be submitted again as a PDF, and the budget must not exceed 50,000 euros. And here we encourage them to include as many details as possible. We don't have a checklist of budget criteria, but because we mentioned this or a specific table, but we tell them to be as specific as possible, because this will help themselves, and also it will help you in reviewing their application properly. And they have to attach this as a PDF, otherwise it doesn't work. The total sum requested for their project, which might be between €0 and 50,000 euros. And the reason we have this here is because of statistical purposes. Perhaps later on we would like to do a statistical analysis to see what, how many projects we had and what were the sums that we received. If additional funding has been secured for that specific project that they're applying to, if so, then they would need to describe the funding. And if their organization is planning on developing a publication, and if so, they would need to inform the EULAR office immediately. So basically, this is the application form. Not a lot of words for each section, so it's pretty doable. After they finish the form and they click submit, they will go into this platform that I will show you now. And for time reasons, I already completed an application. I did a test one, and I already, because it's easier than to do it right now. Oh, yes, Karina, I see a question.
think it was very good that you had a question if they are going to search for other fundings, because then we can solve the problem we discussed earlier, and we can ask them if they have searched for funding from EULAR, any other grants from EULAR. So then we have solved the problem in a way, I think.
In a way, yes. It's also, yes, that's true. We also have this question, but it also concerns additional funding that is unrelated to EULAR for their specific project.
Yes,
maybe,
but yeah.
But yes, but you're right.
Maybe we can add a question like, have you searched for are you going to search for funding or have searched for funding from EULAR? Yes or no? If you say, if they answer yes, maybe we should say that then you cannot search for funding from this fund. Maybe, I don't know.
And Alex,
Yes.
I think Karina's idea is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it, fully support it. I don't know, Margaret, what you think, but it's also a bit of an integrity thing and for the application, and it's a quick tick box thing if they're already receiving another funding sort of source from EULAR. I like it personally.
Okay, great.
Margaret, what do you think?
Yes, we can do it. I'm a little bit, I'm trying to envision it. I can imagine that somebody asked before EULAR money, but that it not really fits under the umbrella of one of the other grants EULAR, for instance, gives out, and that this is far more specific for equity, and we could. So they try to get something from quality of care or research, but there they did not get it, or a totally different aspect was financed, and still could be that it's correct also to give it from the equity fund. So I think definitely what we want here is information, whether they requested earlier money from EULAR and also whether they got money from EULAR. But given that we now are in a phase that it's so unclear what we will get, and that we thought it's maybe good to keep it as broad as possible, it's maybe not per se that everything then we should already exclude beforehand. And maybe when we learn, it's also a little bit a pilot to see afterwards how it works out.
I mean, I don't see this as precluding giving a grant. It's more of a declaration. It's a bit like a EULAR bursary. You tick a box of whether you received a bursary before. You know, it might be that if we have very highly competitive grants, then we might think that you know, if someone's received already 3 funds from, there should be a bit of text on as to what. If they tick yes, I think, Alex, and there should be a text to say what they've received, or but it wouldn't be precluding giving them another grant. It would be more a declaration.
But, Elena, but maybe also Karina, because it's now said yes, describe the funding source. What would we add there? So we explain a little bit more what we want for information. We can definitely do that. It's always helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
so
what shall we add there?
We can keep the question, but add more descriptors, or do a separate question.
I'm just seeing the question. Is it the one that you've ticked here? Is your organization? Yeah. Sorry.
No, the one that I highlighted now.
Yeah. Has additional funding been or will it be secured for this project? If yes, please describe the funding source. I don't think we're clear in this question, actually. We just simply want to ask, has additional funding been received? As straight as that, right? Or has, or even if they've applied at the same time for another source, maybe for another.
Yes,
that's also another thing that would be useful.
We could split it if you want into 2 questions, either from
other source. So has additional funding? Are you a holder of an additional sort of EULAR fund? Are you a holder of an existing EULAR fund? If so, what? And then it will be, are you at the same time applying? Do we have in our rules whether they shouldn't be applying for any? We don't have anything like that they shouldn't only be applying for one. Yeah. So
no, the only thing they have is if the same, let's say, organization applies through two different representatives to the equity fund, then yes, then this is an issue.
Karina, what do you think?
Yes.
You've got your hand up.
I just have a question, and that might influence how we go further. Is it okay for us and EULAR that the researchers get funding both from this fund and from another fund from EULAR? Is that okay or not? With exactly the same aim.
I think I can answer that, but Timea may also want to come in. From my understanding, no, this is not allowed.
No, that's not allowed.
So that's what we have to prevent. So we have to, that's why I wanted an answer on that. Yeah.
And my question was that when Elena, when you were suggesting to ask this question, so do we want to know with these questions that if they have for this particular project any other fundings, or we want to ask really that is there any other irrelevant project which is funded by EULAR? Because that's for me two different questions.
I think we need to ideally declare both, because also when it comes to, you know, if it's irrelevant, but it's still a very good proposal and fits this fund very well, we want to give it, right? But
so that's the question, that if somebody said that, yes, I have a research method grants, or I have an education or something, which
preclude.
No,
then they cannot do an equity fund project.
Oh, no, I think it shouldn't preclude them from applying for this if they have a strong rationale for wanting this as well.
Yeah.
But where it might come in handy, I'm thinking now, Karina stimulated thinking around this, and I think this is really useful to discuss it here. But for example, say if we have 5, let's be super ambitious, 7 excellent proposals, and we know that based on the declaration of one of them, they already hold 2 or 3 other EULAR funds, then we might say, you know, actually we'll fund this proposal that are equally good, but this one has never received EULAR funding. For example, I think there will be value beyond just you know, knowing in decisions.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Just I think I like when you said that if it's equal. My question is that if it's not equal, the proposal, then would this question be still important to know that if they have any other applications with any other departments?
I think so. Personally, I think it's useful. I know for the EULAR bursaries that there tends to be, well, it used to be the time when we were applying for bursaries, it used to be a situation whereby EULAR was trying to equally distribute and make sure everybody gets a chance, sort of thing. So we had to declare, I don't know if it's still happening, but we had to declare whether we've been recipients of this before or something, just so it was just a declaration that, but yeah.
No, I understand. I just want to make sure that if it's a really good proposal for equity fund, we're not going to exclude it just because that particular. That's all I'm asking. Yeah.
I don't think that would be a criterion.
Ruth, I see your hand and I see that's going up and down, but you were first.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, please, how can we know that they're equally good proposals if they're not asked up front if they have an additional funding, and then ask if they have, then we say, okay, it's equally good, so we do the other. So we should, in my opinion, ask them, do you have other funding, meaning other grants, and do you have other EULAR funding? I think that both is might influence our decision. And now I'm confused because I thought if there is a EULAR funding for this specific proposal already, then we should not accept it. And now all of a sudden it's in the discussion, or maybe I understood it wrong. It is back into it. So are we giving out funds also from this fund if there is another EULAR funding? I thought no. Okay, Margriet, you say no. Okay. So yeah, that's my point.
Can I just clarify there? Sorry, Margriet. Ruth, are you asking, are we giving a proposal comes to the equity fund? It's good. We want to fund it. Is your question, would we fund it if they are holders, the PI, of another EULAR grant, or are you specifically asking if they are holders of another funding source for the same project? I'm confused with your question. Sorry, help me understand.
I didn't have the question was, I was thinking, and I guess I'm right now, that if there is another EULAR fund, then we do not fund it, right?
For the same project?
For the same project.
For the same project,
if there
yes.
is a different project, that's totally different.
Yes.
But our question is only for this project. Is there a EULAR funding? Then it's a no. Is there other funding? I think this is interesting because it might also influence if it got from the World Bank, I don't know, some funding, and the others do not have it, then I would rather go there. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
May I add on that? Yes, I fully agree with Ruth. So the most important is whether for this particular project, they have funds from elsewhere. And that cannot be, in fact, normally EULAR, or it must be a kind of separate type of projects with totally different aims that somewhere connected or something. But that is, now we have to see how that works out. But in principle, no. With the other point, whether they have other projects financed by EULAR, I'm thinking this is not, and then I'm now also looking to Timea, because that's not something that is only happening for this particular fund. That is, of course, a EULAR broad and general principle, because that's very often the case that people have a research fund and also get funds via quality of care, or that now they have maybe a foreign grant which very easily adapts to what's going on by funding from EULAR. So my preference or my suggestion would be that we follow here the policy of EULAR, how they do it. Otherwise, it would be a little bit, I find it difficult that we would do it very different from all the other funds and how they ask and give out money. So maybe if it's possible, maybe you'll have some look into how research is doing this and quality of care, because there you often have the same kind of thing. And because what I also thought is maybe complicated, you have one person who brings this in. So must then, what grants do they have to bring up there? Is that everything from the department? Is that everything from their hospital? Sometimes you have very big departments with very independent researchers, or you have several departments from a typical institution. Do they have to bring all the EULAR grants they got in? I think that's rather complicated. So we have to make it a little, we have to keep in mind that it has to be simple. Otherwise, I already find it complicated. So
yeah, I agree. And that's why I just try to ask the question that do we really care about if the applicants had any other, for this particular project, any other funding? I think that's what we care, right? We want to know if they get other places.
Yeah, that's what we care.
And that's what is it currently, I guess, in the evaluation form. If we care about, so I think the original question that Alex showed you with the links, it was more to the applicant. We would like them to do before they submit, based on these links, a little research for themselves, that are they sure that this is the right place? So it was not meant to be for you guys per se, especially with the reviewers. So maybe that's where the confusion, but I think we can look into it. I personally am not aware of this, discrimination kind of thing, that if you have a grant with research, then you cannot apply for others.
I don't think it's a rule that you can't.
No, I don't think so.
That's why I think it's more of a declaration, more of a, are you a holder of another grant at the moment,
And if you want to ask, I mean, it's easy to change the form. We just felt, and that's why you see this one question, that we just felt we want to know for this particular project if they get budget money for anywhere else for this particular project that we are reviewing. So that's why we have only one question. But if you want to know about others, not relevant. For me, it's not relevant project,
to
right?
keep it as simple as we can in our first round, that maybe for now we leave it as it is, and we can, of course, after evaluating this first round, see whether we had needed extra information to decide who will get the money or not, to make life now simple for everybody.
Just to that, I don't think it will overcomplicate if an applicant has to tick a box to save their holders of another grant personally. But I'm happy this is a democratic world and we're very happy to reach a decision together. But I don't think it overcomplicates. If I was asked when I submit a grant, you know, are you a holder of currently of another EULAR grant? And, you know, some free text, yes, I hold a 400K grant from research to do this. You know, I don't think it's a time-consuming or overburdening process, but I'm happy to go either way. Ruth,
and then when are you a holder then? That is only when you are the primary investigator, or if you are because that maybe we have to define, because then there will not be that many. We can do that, but then we must phrase it very clear, maybe, and then it's also easy for them to fill it in.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I'm with Elena. I think it's Elena. My connection is not good. Who said that? I think just add a very short question is no big deal. I think to take, and that's it.
Okay.
For the EULAR, do you hold a EULAR grant for this specific proposal?
Yeah.
Can I just add something that? Can I suggest that we internally, Alexandra and Alex, we will look into it, because I don't want to end up in a situation that they say that why are you asking when other departments are not asking this? I just want to make sure that we do exactly what we do with other places as well. I don't want to feel that they say, okay, other department also accept proposals and why are you asking this? So I think we should do an internal like research about this, what's going on.
I think it's a very good idea, Timea, because it's come up before in EULAR council meetings and internally, I think, whereby there was this concern that we didn't know who, you know, there was just, it's difficult, isn't it, to put the pieces of the puzzle together when there's so many committees. And I think this was a fear for a while. It's a bit like the QOC and the, you know, task force proposals that go in, and you know, it's, you have to declare if you shouldn't be a member of X amount, blah blah. But we rely on the declaration of the applicant to do that. Otherwise, there's no. So I think it's about that fine line, isn't it, of finding a gentle way of also sort of making sure for the organization it's good to know. I know there have been situations, there's been a little bit of criticism for applicants to multiple EULAR things. I know that over time that was missed. It was missed because there was nowhere something to link it all together. But we can have a look internally. I think that's very important.
Kati, please.
Yes, but the main, I think that at the end, the main question will be, do you have another grant for the specific projects? Because this is the main question. It's not that if the applicant can have grants from another committee, it is for the specific projects, but this is very quite correct. They cannot have the same project with 3 grants different from different committees. But for the specific, this is very important. We don't care if they have grants for other projects or from another committees, but this is the specific project. I am correct, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is yes. I think this is the point.
Now, Timea, I think it's important that you will also look in the EULAR policy here. That's maybe helpful for us to guide us.
Okay. Then I will share my screen again. So the applicant submits their application, and you, as reviewers, you will have access to this platform. And this is basically, this would be your dashboard. Here you only have one review because it's only one that I submitted as a test, but you might have multiple depending on what reviews you are assigned by the advocacy chairs. So first we do the admin work from our side, and then afterwards you will receive here the reviews that are that you will have to deal with. And as I said, this is your dashboard. You have the title of the proposal here, the first and last name of the applicant, the country from which they apply, the organization's name, part of the abstract, and part of the lay summary of this. And then you will have to click on it. You can forget all these things on the side. You will not care about these things. And the things that you will see here are both the application form and your actual evaluation form, which you will have to complete. Before I go into the evaluation form, I want to say that for this platform, you will be asked to create an account. And if you already have an ESOR account, you will need to log in with that one. This I will mention in an email after the meeting anyhow. But please note that the email addresses that we will add in the system, in Jira here in this system, need to coincide with the ones that you are using for reviews. If you give us one address and you log in with another one, it will be impossible for you to perform the review. So once we have the platform ready, probably in February, we will send you an email and you will just have to easily create an account. And then you will be able to see the previous dashboard once you have an application that you need to review. And you will be notified in due course when you have an application to review. Yes, Thea. I cannot, sorry, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's just me or...
You will have to unmute her.
Ah, let me see. Oh, no, she was unmuted. I think there's a connection. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Try now. I am seeing Thea is unmuted now.
No, I think there's an issue with the microphone. Perhaps Elena could jump in and then...
Yeah, while we are waiting here to connect, short question about creating an account. Can I use my EULAR account?
Jan Philip perhaps you could jump in on this?
No, you can't use your EULAR account for that, sadly, but you can use the same email address if you want.
Because, as you know, we are already with that email on my EULAR account, so it would be very suitable to use the same account because so many passwords, so many things, you know.
Yeah, completely understand that, but currently that's sadly not possible.
Okay.
Maybe in the future, I don't want to promise there anything, but you can use the same email address. That is up to you, but it will not be the same account.
Okay, we'll survive.
Yes, I see your question. I see your question. It will be in the evaluation form. I will show it now. So basically, once you click an application, you will have these two attached forms here. The application that you can see now it's completed, was completed by me beforehand with the fields that we already went through. I attached the proposal. I attached a detailed budget. So you will have access to the whole application. And then your part is the evaluation form, which looks like this. You will see, you will see the project title, the date in which you do the evaluation. You can add your name here as the reviewer. Here, Thea, is your question about the conflict of interests. And if you select yes, then you would have to contact us, and we can take it from there. You will see the name of the applicant and their degree. Here we might change because they don't necessarily need to have an academic degree or post. And then the scoring. The scoring now is split in 3 different sections. We have 1 score for alignment, if it aligns with equity fund's aim and purpose. We have 5 assessment criteria. As you hear, quality of the proposal, realistic work plan, the impact assessment, how feasible the project is within the proposed time frame, and if the budget is realistic. For all of these, you have a scale from 1 to 5 that you need to note. And the last part, so we have alignment as 1 score, assessment criteria as the 2nd score, and a context adjustment, the country income level, as a 1 to 3 score. Why do we include this? Because we are trying to focus on low and middle income countries. And because of the advocacy committee meeting that we had in November, where somebody brought into the conversation the EULAR list of low and middle income countries, we decided to use both the World Bank classification criteria for low and middle income countries and EULAR's list for this. So depending on where they situate, they receive 3 points, 2 points, and for all the others, of course, 1 point. If we click on the low and middle income countries from EULAR, we will see this list of 24 countries. And we need to update this list for 2026. We need to find out who's responsible from EULAR side in updating this list. But if the applications comes from one of these countries that is a EULAR member, then they need to automatically be scored with 2 points. The reason we make this distinction between the EULAR's list and the World Bank list, which is this one, is that, let's say, for example, Romania, Poland, and Portugal are listed in the World Bank list as high-income countries. However, in EULAR's list, that is compiled with other indicators, these countries are listed as low and middle income member countries. So bottom line, if it's a EULAR member, we need to check this list to see if it's included here. Otherwise, we need to check the World Bank list for the countries involved. Now, we could, and you would just need to click on the link to see where the country comes from. If this is too much and you don't necessarily want this, we could do apparently, but it's a more riskier process. We could automate it. And once somebody submits an application from Morocco, let's say, it would automatically receive 1 score. However, with this, the issue with this is that we need to constantly update the lists from our side somehow in the system. I'm not sure how this works. The more secure way, and of course, if the links change, we have no way of knowing how these change. But the more secure way would be this one. You just click a link and see where the country, where the applicant is from. But if you feel this is not something that you would like to do, we can try to automate it and receive a automatic score depending on who applies. It's really up to you. Yes, Ruth and Kati.
I think it is safer to have an automatic, have it done automatically, because you should, we have to update it, or you have to update it. And if it's feasible, if it is from IT feasible, I would prefer that.
Yeah. We can try. They didn't go into detail. They said it would be a bit more complicated, and they were not entirely sure. If Jan Philip, I discussed this with Levin, with our colleague, but we can try to do this automatic. Yes, Kati, and then Margaret.
Yes, it's the same. I totally agree with my previous colleague, but because, for example, Romania, I'm pro Greece, but for Romania, we know that it's not. It's a low-income country until now, and the World Bank says it's not it's not against the law. So, what should we do?
The EULAR
they have
member.
different they have different objectives and criteria, do you know? So
yes,
you have
initially
to decide.
we only suggested the World Bank, but then I think Rike was the one that brought this list up in our advocacy committee meeting. So these countries that are EULAR members and are on the list, these kind of take precedence if they're on the EULAR list. For example, Romania, right? You would need to take that off the EULAR list and not from the World Bank. But of course, the EULAR list is restricted to the member countries, mostly to Europe, but also, Margriet, please.
No, yes. I think it's nice that we thought that this was brought up when we discussed it in Brussels, that you not have just the A and the C as you see it here, but that we realized there are also countries that you can look at in another way, and that's B. What I thought is nice if we as reviewers are going to do it, is that you also carefully can have a real understanding where you really think this what is the context of this country. So sometimes it could be that it is seen as or brought up as something from a country A, but when you really look into where the project is done, or how the project is developed, who is doing the project, it turns out that you realize this is not a project from a country A, but in fact everything is done in a project falling under C. And I think it's not, you as a reviewer can also add to that and maybe say, I would list this as a project for a country C. And it is something that you as a reviewer, because you have read it, can have a look at. Alexandra.
Yes, I think this is actually an excellent point, especially since we know that there will be situations where two countries will be applying. And I see under that there is also the question, like, is the LMIC partner represented in a leading or a co-leading role? And I received this question during the PARE conference from people from countries who couldn't necessarily apply due to some administrative issues, that what if they have a partner country who is a high-income country? How will that then work? So I personally would probably go for a manual selection here, so that the reviewers can use their judgment.
So that that you as a reviewer really can also, now in your judgment, also can really feel where is this particular project coming from? Is this a country A, a B, or a C? Yeah. And of course, if you doubt, or if you say, I find it complicated because now, is this now a B list? Or then of course you can always ask Zurich Bureau for some help or so. But it's good then first to realize from which country you think primarily it comes. And then it helps, I think, to accommodate as many countries, also lower middle income countries, as much as we can. That was the idea behind it.
Yeah. And you can always add a comment for the advocacy committee chairs here below.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's also helpful. Yeah.
So basically, this is the whole evaluation form. But why do we have this split into alignment, assessment, and context adjustment? Because it's probably makes it easier later on for you and the chairs to decide on the funded projects. For example, a country with a 2 alignment score and a maximum of 25 in the assessment category versus a country with a 5 with a perfect alignment score and just a mediocre, like 18 points on assessment, then it gives you a bit of leeway to understand which one fits better with the project and how you decide on who ultimately gets the funding. That was the reasoning for the split scores. And you will also have access to, of course, a small guidance table that I will share with you after this meeting as well. What to look out for when analyzing this criteria. I will not go into details on them, but you can have a look. It's pretty straightforward. So for you, basically, you will just have to open the application and give the scoring here and then press submit. and from there we will take it to the next step. On the actual practical side, how do you do the review? So you will have these two forms, but you cannot open them. You will have them on the same page if you open them. So this doesn't quite make any sense. In order for you to do the evaluation, I would actually suggest to duplicate the page. Second. And you can have the application form open on one side.
Oh, okay.
And then the evaluation form open on the other side. And you can do this side by side. Of course, you can download it as a PDF. Apparently, this is not, this is the easiest way to go. Apparently, this is how the platform for the moment works. You cannot have both open on the same time unless you duplicate the page and you see the application form here, and then you will see your evaluation part on this other side. If it's easier
Alex,
for
that
you,
is very practical, but I can imagine that is a practicality. I already can imagine I forgot how you can do that. Can you describe that to us? And also which of the things I have to click to duplicate?
We will send this in we will send this in a navigation, little navigation form with photos and screenshots and arrows.
Okay.
Basically, you just have to go here and click duplicate tab, like right click and then duplicate tab. But this will be shown. If it's easier for you and you don't want to have two web pages open, two tabs open, you can always download the application as a PDF and work with it as a PDF while you evaluate online. If you have two screens, this works. If you have a big screen, this also works. But this is the only caveat of this specific platform.
Alex, one thing that Taya put a question into the chat saying, is alignment with the call a specific topic to be addressed in the application form? And I answered, but maybe any of my colleagues can also add to that, that the call is right now very broad, so it's difficult to be fully aligned with it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I changed something in the setting, but I'm in other review boards as well, and then I find this as a reviewer very handy when you have the vision of the applicants on how they see the alignment with the call. It's more easy to review this particular point if you see what the applicants think about this.
Yes, I mean, I think this could be here. Their relevance to EULAR Equity Fund's purpose from the side of the applicant. So I think this would be, I guess, your main point.
And then
of course the full proposal.
It's most easy for the reviewer if the topics to be scored by the reviewers are precisely in line with the names or the formulation in the application form, because then you can directly see, oh, I have to look for at this place in the application, and it's more difficult if it's in multiple places or phrased in another way.
Okay, we can try to streamline that. Yes. I think it might be evaluation. 1 second. Okay. So you would like the questions from the actual questions for the application form to be the exact same ones in the evaluation.
So that people see that when they fill something in, this is used to evaluate the quality, for example. So that this is aligned, and it's also more fair, I think, for the applicants that they see that the appraisal of the quality is precisely based on these things that they filled in the application.
Okay, we can try to see if that adds up and actually works. Yes, thank you.
There was a question in the chat from Kati regarding duplicated applications. Was what you meant that there would be several submissions of the same project or something else?
What I mean is that if we have the duplicated and then we evaluate, what we'll do with the duplicated submission? Shall we delete it or shall we leave it there? You said that we have to duplicate the application to see the evaluation. We review that, we make the review, and we submit that. What we're doing with the first one, shall we delete the duplicated?
No, you can just close the, you don't delete it, you just close that tab.
Okay.
You just close the tab, yes.
Okay.
But
okay.
It doesn't duplicate the actual application. It just it's a technical thing, isn't it? It's just a second window.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's just a second window to guide you through the Once you close it, it goes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And just for you to know, once you click submit, the review is over. You cannot reopen it. If you would like to reopen it, you would need to notify us to do that. Yes. More or less, this is it. For the moment, you cannot access the platform. This will be done in February, so you can have a look at it once it's done. But we also send a guide. But we think it's pretty straightforward. But it takes a bit to adjust. If you haven't used this platform before, and we also haven't used this platform before, it will take a bit to adjust to it. But we try to make it as easy as possible. A draft option to test the platform out. I do not. Jan Philip, can you answer this? If there will be a.
I am not quite sure if we will have a test platform, but this is definitely something we could do. I can get back to you, Alex, and then you can let the rest know.
So maybe the question was about the draft option that, let's say I started the review, I haven't finished it, and I closed it. You said that once you closed it, you cannot go back. Can I go back if I haven't submitted? Is there a different button that I just worked on the review or I submitted the review? That's the question.
I think so. From what Levin showed me, let me share my screen. While you're working on it, you can actually, I think you can actually save it. Oh.
So I think this is important that we make sure that it's clear that like it's not just people feel that I have one off and I have to finish if I started or I don't know if that's
this we can double check actually with IT. I asked this question, but I'm not sure. Usually if you start working on it, you can actually save, I think, your progress. Can you save your progress, Jan Philip? Do you know this by hand? Or
yes,
do they have
the progress will be saved. If you input anything into the form, it will be saved. If you close it and open it again, the same content will still be there. But if you click submit, this will mark the content that you have inputted or that you have provided there as closed off. This can be reopened by the advocacy team for you to edit it again, but not by you.
Can I just ask, there's no automated save function then? It will not save unless you press save.
There is an automated save function. If you change anything, it should actually be saved.
So it's automated save.
Yeah. And for example, if you enter any value there, you can you can close it, and you should be able to open it again to have this overview again.
Okay, so I went back.
And this is you haven't pressed saved.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be really useful to know.
Test.
Okay, so it hasn't.
No, I don't think it's saved.
So could we do it as an automated save, Jean-Philippe? Is that going to be possible?
I had the wrong configuration in mind. Don't think it's possible. You have to click save. You will not submit it if you click save. If you click save, it will be saved.
Okay, all right.
It will not be submitted at that point.
Yeah, no. I was just wondering whether it would be something that could be done, an automated save function on the platform, but it doesn't sound like there's scope for that.
No, not for this feature. There is no automated save function for this feature. For most others, there is, but not this one.
Most others, do you mean other Jira system submissions?
Yeah, most other fields in Jira are automatically saved once you input them, but not this form, not the form where you submit your review. There you have to explicitly select save.
So you have two buttons then. One to do save. If you have typed something and you want to save it, you click save. And when there is another button, when you really say submit. So as long that you only have saved, it's still with you. You can add things, change things only after submit. Then you can't go back. Is that how I understand it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah,
yes.
I think we had a couple of people jump because they had to, but I believe we've covered everything for the time being, unless there's something else that needs to be discussed. Any other questions? Thank you also for all the feedback. We will see what we can do in terms of implementing it. And this is still just an initial version of the platform, so we can change it. And as Alex said at the beginning, you don't need to worry about it right now. This is just a preview of what you will be able to see. And you can always talk to us if there is a problem.
Thank you. That's
Thank you
very
as
helpful.
Yes,
Thanks,
and Margarita and Elena,
especially,
yes, you will have more to work on this.
Yes.
So for you, it's a bit more complicated.
Dino.
So it's
it's fine.
Yeah.
No, thank you already for a lot of work that in Zurich has been done. Thank you
so much.
Thank you for taking the time today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, and thanks for everybody to be here.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.